So here's the way I see it, is that Coulter did this back during the rollout, really the test market phase of our whole company. We didn't have any tools, we didn't have anything, we pioneers. And so how long did it take you with, just the bare raw necessities? You had the product, the Zeal product at the time, didn't even have weight management at the time. But to become an executive, how many other consultants do you need in your business to be executive? What are the requirements?
The requirements are that you have to have 100 consultants, okay, within your first 6 levels.
Okay, in your first 6 levels, 100. And it took you from the time, when did you sign up?
I actually started on July 1st.
July 1st, okay. So July 1st you got started, and then you hit executive when?
The last day of August.
All right, almost exactly 60 days?
Yeah, 60 days.
Now you know the importance, there's probably a strategy there.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a defined date. 60 days is a good number,
right,
because you know that you're going to be telling that story.
Right.
It's a lead by example thing. You got to go first. You set the bar. You get your story. How important? And I think about, I'm kind of answering my own questions sometimes, but
you're doing good.
Because it leads to the interviews, it leads to the platform, it leads to the influence and all this stuff. The importance of having that success story. There's a lot of reasons for that. If you might start just share some of the reasons why developing that story, that success story, is so important.
To me, the success story is more important than the check initially, because you're going to be using that forever for marketing. Okay, so it is very important that you get yourself a story, and that's why even earning $1,000 in your first 30 days is so critical. That's just not a line. I mean, the people are going to ask you, how are you doing? What have you done? Okay, so it is very critical.
Okay, so coming in this, because you had some experience in the industry, you knew the importance of having to develop stories. That's why it's not a simple decision. It's not a thing to join a business, because you know what's coming.
Yeah, I'm starting over from scratch.
Starting over, but it's not like I'm putting a toe in the water.
Right.
Once you say, I'm starting a wellness company, it's with this product, and you go to work, you know how important it is to the speed of the leader, speed of the pack thing.
Run.
And you've already seen some duplication of that with Alex, right?
Alex, absolutely.
So he judged his how fast should I do it based on the leader, right?
Right. And so after I got done reaching executive consultant, and it's very stressful. I'm so glad this is over with.
Hey, we're going to be real with you. It's not going to be a walk in the park to become successful.
And then I had to do it all over again with Alex the next month. I'm like, oh. But it was worth it. He's a dynamo. He's a massive asset to the company, and just an amazing, fun, totally gifted individual. So if you haven't got to meet him yet, you need to. He's an amazing guy. But it is a lot of hard work. It's very stressful. It was not easy. Okay.
Let's talk about this. Get this picture that, say we all come out of here, okay, and we're going to go from 0 to executive in the next 60 days, like Coulter did. That means you're going to build an organization of 100 people in the next 60 days. So going into that, what'd that look like? Give us a roadmap, a strategy. How'd you what was your mindset?
Well,
did you have a goal for 60 days?
Yeah, actually what happened is I asked Mark Kirby, what's the fastest that it's been done in the company? And they said around 4 months. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it in 2.
Tells you something.
Okay. And so the very first step in this process is you have to want to massively accomplish a goal. Okay, so step 1 is you have to, want to completely change your life, completely reach a goal. I mean, it's got to be an intense, burning desire to do it. That's step 1. Step 2, you need to proclaim your goal loudly to everyone. And I'm still amazed at how many people, even leaders, don't want to set a goal because they don't want that burden on them.
It puts you out there, doesn't it?
It puts you out there, but it's very frustrating to me. I don't know if I think it was Tracy saying she can't understand stupid or something like that. But I'm like, if you don't have a goal, you're not going to do anything. You're in what I call a state of perpetual hope. You have the dream. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do it in Zervita, but it's not going to happen. You have to set a goal. So the next step was proclaiming that to Mark.
So we are talking about a subject that it requires courage to set a goal. You met with the owner of the company and you said, I'm going to do this in this amount of time. And you're not a person who just, Mark will have a lot of people and Tracy will have a lot of people coming up to him this weekend and saying, I'm going to do, that's why Art Williams developed the speech of the just do it, just do it, just do it speech. But every once in a while you find somebody who says, this is what I'm going to do, and they hold themselves to it. So let's talk about out of the gate. It's like, okay, you made the decision, I'm going to do it in 60 days, because I want the story. It tells a lot about his self-esteem, okay, self-respect, his identity, because he wanted to be the fastest. So he goes, okay, I'm going to be the fastest. And so he proclaimed it, started telling everybody, started speaking it. And now it's go time.
It's action time. It's a lot of action. But even within the action, it's planning. You have to look at the compensation plan. You have to look at what is it that I need to accomplish. Then you need to figure out how am I going to break that down. I have to break it down.
Let's do that a little bit. How did you go about doing that? You need 3 frontline seniors, right? You
need 3 senior consultants and 3 separate legs. Okay, and 100 consultants. So I knew that, all right, obviously, it's about 13 people per senior consultant. I mean, every little thing. How many people does it take to make a senior consultant? Times 3. Now, but I still need how many extra consultants? Okay, so I know it's like getting the 3 SCs is really not the big deal. It's all the extra consultants that I'm going to need to pull this off.
You need 100 people in the group.
Yeah.
In 60 days.
In 60 days. And so I got, once I got started, I just went flying with an action plan to start recruiting, to start talking to people, and basically part of that process is I have no choice. I have to work as hard as I have to work. I have to do what I have to do. Part of this process is understanding that it's not going to happen the way you want it to.
So you and Jennifer, it wasn't 9 to 5, it's casual. It's like, well, if I hit it, so be it. If I don't, sit down.
No, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable.
So it's all you got.
It's all you got. I have to do whatever I have to do. I told her, this is what was going to be going on. She was very supportive. It was just constant 3-ways. My whole life was just doing 3-ways, talking to people. Because, see, part of this is you can't do it by yourself. That's what I try to teach to people. You have to have your plan, and then you have to start working with your people. So it's not enough to say, I want you, and you to do this. That's not how it works, because they're probably not going to do it.
You have team building.
You have to work through them. You have to work with them. So I had my goal. I had my plan. Now I had to get with as many people that were willing to sit down and make a plan with them, either in person or on the phone. Okay, again, that's who's doing that with them? Me. Not me. It's just saying, make a plan. Because they're not going to do it most of the time. Okay, so I have to do it with them. Then I have to help them execute it.
Yeah, they're not coming in there and going to work just because you want to be successful.
Right. So, and how I did it is, I said, what do you want your goal to be? I do this at the beginning of every month. What are your goals for the month? And really, to be honest with you, it was very frustrating for me to have to do that. I don't want to have to do this. Like, you're in business to create financial independence. Why do I have to ask you to set a goal?
Let me ask you something, Professor Brinkley. because you're a Professor Brinkley and you have your master's in internet marketing, you've been successful in the past, I'm sure everybody that you called was waiting for the call and couldn't wait. It's like, why have you waited so long to call me, Professor? I'm ready to jump on board, right?
Yeah, they said, Coulter, I've been wanting to sign up with you in something for years now. No, that's not how it is. I don't have a large hot market. Everybody thinks, oh, you must have brought a bunch of people over from another opportunity. I said, no, I hadn't been actively in one for like 7.5 years at the time.
Okay, he's been inactive.
Yeah.
All right, in the industry. So I'm glad we brought that up.
Yeah.
You didn't bring a downline. No. You hadn't even been active for 7.5 years. Mm-hmm. So you were really starting from scratch.
I was starting from scratch, no joke.
And the process of just jogging your memory and your contact list and all this stuff.
But I had some good people that I brought into the business with me, and I started working with them, helping them reach their goals. That's the beautiful thing about this business. You only reach your goal if you help other people reach their goal. But, as I've been pointing out, because this is very key, you can't just assume they're going to do it. It's probably not going to happen. So you have to get in there and fight and work with them. Cordell's an excellent example of this. I mean, he'll drive all over the country with whoever, whatever, to do whatever, and that's what it takes. You got to do what you got to do when you got to do it.
Okay, so you had to sort through some people in the beginning to find a handful of people. Mm-hmm. You had to get your foundation. Mm-hmm. You had to get your first people if it was going to turn into 100. Okay, so how many did you end up bringing into business frontline to you to make up your foundation?
I think maybe 6, 8, and 9.
Okay, so it's not a huge number.
No.
So 6, 8, or 9, and did they all go with it for it? Just like on the chalkboard, they all went for it?
Not easily, that's Kelly. Like, oh no, here we go again. But no, it's not, and you have to invest a lot of time in working with them, breaking things down. Okay, how are you going to become a senior consultant? Let me show you what that looks like on a piece of paper. That's very important, visualization. I can't really express it in words.
Like? So really taking them from beginning to senior.
You have to draw it out. We call it schematics. Okay, you have to see it. Oh, that's all I have to do? Fill in those circles? Mm-hmm. You guys have, if I were to just say become a senior consultant, it's like overwhelming. If I show them all it really takes to get there, oh, that's easy. Completely different scenario, A and B, like Kirby's talking about split testing. You show a visual, don't show a visual. The person that sees the visual says that's easy. The person that doesn't see the visual says, I'm not ready to commit to that.
So they gotta see it.
I have to see it, I have to explain it, go over a strategy, okay? All right, now you set your goal. What's the strategy? Or what I like to say is, what's the basis for making this happen? Because we've all heard people say, I'm going to do this within this period of time. Or someone will say to me, I'm going to be an executive consultant, and next month, at the end of the next month, I'm thinking to myself, well, you are only a senior consultant, so what's the basis for that? Like if right now you only have 14 people, and you don't have an action plan, you don't have other people that are going to work with you right now, what's the basis to make that happen? Does that make sense? What's the basis? So again, with that, you've got to get in there and you have to work with it.
Okay, so you set the 60 days, game on, clock's running, you sorted through people, talking. You found 6 or 7 or 8 people to come into business with you. Mm-hmm. It's all about them now. You're gonna start taprooming, building through them. You're going for 100 people in 60 days. I've never heard one success story ever where it went as planned.
I knew it wouldn't, but I still was in perpetual hope as well. I was hoping that it would, because when we ended that first month, actually, it was the end of July at the conference in Orange County, and we had under Alex, under Lester, there was this one guy that was supposed to be just, you guys know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Was going to be just blow it out. I mean, now we just ended a conference. Now, always after a conference, there is a massive increase in productivity. Like, well, I ended the month, I'm like at 44 people.
Oh, man, you're like, I got this one in the bag.
Yeah. The anniversary was on the 21st of August. I'm like, I'm going on the cruise. I'm gonna have it taken care of by then. That way I can just relax.
So you had a cruise plane within the 60-day window.
Yeah, it's all good. In fact, the next Sunday morning after the conference, I had breakfast with Mark, and I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there at the end of this month, the end of August. And so
you're in the second month. At the end of 1 month, how many people on the team?
Around 44.
44, you're right on the pace.
I'm right on the pace.
But you got some momentum.
Momentum, some superstars. The conference just ended.
Foot off the gas a little bit, maybe?
It's going to be easy. And then guess what?
Now we go into August. What happens?
Like no sign-ups in 2 weeks.
The leader.
I'm like, Alan, what did you do to me, man? But now I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is just amazing. Just amazing.
The group's just stopped.
I mean, I even remember lying down on the couch and being depressed. I'm like, I just don't understand this, I know it's hard for you guys to believe, but I'm human. And
but this is an important time because anybody that's ever set a goal, and there's urgency, there's time frames, there's obstacles, challenges, things can happen, things come up. All of a sudden, you run into that mountain. You're looking at the scoreboard, you're looking at the time left on the clock, and in the natural, you're like, you begin to doubt, you begin to wonder.
Absolutely. And you even get to a point where you're like, it's just not realistic. I mean, Mark even gave me a nice little speech of getting out of this goal. Well, I know if you don't do it this month, you're going to get it done next month.
Mark and Tracy, it's okay. We just love you anyway.
I just love you. But I said no. And it is very tempting to say, just logically and realistically, it's just not going to happen. But I said no. I said, be creative. I said, culture, there's always a way.
Dig deep.
There's always a way. So again, get back on the phone, working with your people, hit your leads, but get back to working with them, get them re-inspired again. And then I said, but I still need a backup plan. And that's very important in this. You need several backup plans. Whatever, let me just say it this way, whatever you're planning is probably not going to work.